On this episode of Spill the Tea with LLIB, we have the amazing Lucy Murphy. So Lucy, can you share with our listeners more about your business and the unique aspects that sets it apart?
So I do massage and holistic therapies is the short answer. But I think where I differ is I'm conscious that energy is the start of everything. Yeah. So I'm a sports massage therapist, which is obviously, it's a very physical, sort of, not medical, but, it's a therapeutic modality. There's a lot of anatomy and physiology that goes in with that. It's a very intense, very grounded kind of massage. It can have really impactful results, in terms of pain. But I'm really interested in where that is coming from. Why has that pain developed? Because I work particularly with people who are office-based, and they're coming in because they have this intense, usually shoulder pain. In my own head, I classify it as office back because it's so common between, in the places it comes up in. But why are they getting that? It starts energetically. There's theories around shoulder pain and neck comes from feeling unsupported, from feeling like you're carrying too much on your shoulders. Obviously stress as well. Sometimes if I'm going, energetically it's caused by this, it's a little bit sort of airy-fairy for some people, but I think we can all understand that stress has physical results, and that's what I'm talking about. Is there's something is causing this, even to the point of people will sometimes with an unregulated nervous system, if you've had like a chaotic upbringing, chaos feels like home, and you continue to put yourself in situations where it's chaotic, and then you have those physical results. Wow. So I do the sports massage, but I do energy healing as well. So I do shamanic energy healing and like a few other modalities. And I love weaving those together. So like intuition is really important for me. And I find that even if somebody comes in just for a straight sports massage, that's all they want, I naturally will have that intuitive sense of where the problem is coming from. And it's not always where they think it is. That's the other interesting thing about the muscles is you might be getting the pain like behind one shoulder blade, but I'm like, I feel like this is coming from your neck or your hip. Yeah. And then I work on that and the pain goes away. Wow. It's that weaving together. That's what's unique about what I do. Is it's that intense, like physical work, but with the energetic component. And I also do intuitive massage within that. So I use all of my different modalities because I do aromatherapy is a really big passion. The sports massage, obviously, in that deeper tissue, lymphatic drainage, which is another one that is like, it's a huge key to health. And then that energy healing. So I'll combine those and I'll go, okay, we'll do the energy healing first, and I tune in and I sort of feel what's going on energetically, and that informs then where I put that massage. And I do know a few people who work with intuitive massage. I don't know as many people who do sports massage, the intense one, and the energy healing together. And I think that is quite unique in sense of that. So I love to work with people who are really committed to their healing as well. Yeah. Because I see myself a lot more as a facilitator, as someone who supports healing. I was just chatting recently actually about when I do a sports massage, I break down that muscle. I break down that knot. I take away, any adhesions, and I'm doing the pummeling and breaking down. It's your body that puts it back together again. Yeah. It's not me healing you. It's me helping your body to do what's necessary. And it's the same with the energy healing. I'm not healing you. I'm allowing you to heal yourself. I'm helping to remove any blocks to your own healing. And I find that really fascinating, really, really powerful. Yeah.
It is. So what inspired you to venture into this particular industry or niche? I know for you, it's not an industry, is it at all? It really is a passion and a calling. But what inspired you? What made you take this route?
I think it's my own experiences. That's what leads me to do qualifications. Is I'll try it myself, and it'll be profound. And I'm like, I need to learn how to do that. So for sports massage, which was like my entry into it. I almost don't count aromatherapy in some ways because I've been doing that since I was about 10.
Wow.
So to me, that's just like literally, that's just life, you know,
Yeah.
and I've just learned and worked with it. It's a constant for me.
And from 10 then, where did that come from?
Oh, Did
you just love the oils? Did you just love the smells?
I have no idea in some ways. No, I was the first one to do any of this. I've been like the weirdo in the family who comes home with herbal teas. You know, I'm like, try this one. Yeah. Don't put antiseptic cream on that. Try this Manuka honey instead. That kind of thing. But I grew up in this little village by the sea, Heysham.
Oh.
And it's this ancient village, and it's quite... it's almost like a place with vortexes. It's like a funny little place, you know, where you can walk into places and it's energetically, it's worth a visit. But there's this really ancient road, and it would have all these little shops on it, you know, in the late 80s. And there was one of those little kind of almost gift shoppy kind of places. Yeah. And I remember wandering in, like, with my pocket money and just finding this book on aromatherapy and having, I mean, they weren't everywhere like they are now, you know, to Holland and Barrett, there's essential oils everywhere. You didn't have them. It was a totally new experience for me. And yet I picked this book up and spent my pocket money on it, took it home. I can still remember it had a rainbow on the cover. And that was it from that point. That was me reading about them and wanting to, like, again, saving up and buying, not sweeties, buying essential oils.
Wow. Yeah.
And using those, and a lot of trial and error, and making all the mistakes it's possible to make, you know, and working on those. So essential oils come from, like, there's something quite deep there, that it was a real calling to use them, and they work very well with me, and I use them on a lot of things and with a lot of people, almost just as a go-to.
Yeah.
But then I always suffered, and again, from being very young, I suffered with shoulder pain. Very intensely. Again, energetically looking back, I can see where some of that was coming from. But there's a lot of tension where, and we all know this, when you're stressed, when you're feeling nervous, your shoulders immediately go up.
Yeah.
Well, that obviously shortens the muscles and it will cause pain sooner or later. But it's, you know, a very common place to put stress. And I just suffered this. And I would have this shoulder pain and just was like, that's just how it is. And I got into my early 20s and was like, it's actually getting really bad now. I got referred to physiotherapy, which did literally nothing, you know. So I just thought, right, so that doesn't work. You just have to, you know, put up with it. And I would just, like, soak in the bath when it got really bad. And then, I don't know why, but, like, out of the blue, I suddenly thought, why don't I get a sports massage? And I had this wonderful lady come around to the house. And she just kind of, you know, she measured all load of stuff, and, you know, she looks at me kind of and like, okay, I'm just going to work into here. And obviously it was excruciatingly painful.
Yeah.
And I got up and I was like, that actually, I can move that.
Yeah.
That feels all right.
Yeah.
And she came, I think I had about 3 weekly massages, about 3 weeks of one massage a week. And the difference in that period of time, I was like, why did I live with this for so long? And now it's gone. Why did I never know about this?
Yeah.
So that was when I went into, right, well, that's the treatment I'm going to be getting.
Yeah.
And I want to learn how to do that.
Yeah. So
that was stage 1. Then I had a friend who was on a shamanic energy healing course. And she was like, can I use you as a case study? I was like, yeah, whatever. You know, I'll just lie still and, you know.
Yeah.
And she did that remotely. So she wasn't even in the room with me. And I was lying there having this intense, profound experience with all these kind of visuals coming up and feeling like energy moving around my body. And that was like another light bulb moment where I was like, this opened up something in me. And I started painting for the first time in years. And really, it was really coming through. You know, these kind of ideas that I'd had previously were kind of, things were coming through me, you know, onto the page. And I was like, I've got to learn how to do this as well, you know. And everything had just kind of snowballed from there.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of opened up and moved me through. And then it's each time I'll find a new modality or I'll try something and I'll be like, I need to learn how to do that. I have an obsession with trigger points. So trigger points are not exactly muscle knots, but where you'll have a spot and your therapist presses on it and it's agony. Yeah. You'll be like, that's the place I need it. There's no real consensus to what they are or how they form. And quite often trigger points are in more or less the same places on everybody. And to me, it's like it's like one of the things that proves to me that you're meant to be well, because if you press on these, it relaxes the muscle off.
Yeah.
It's like your body's got little buttons going, press here to fix, you know?
Yeah.
So I have this obsession with those because I have no idea what they are.
Yeah.
I just know that if I find those in people, if it's active and I press it, that muscle is just going to give in and I can feel the difference.
Wow.
So through that sort of minor obsession, I moved into dry needling, which is a modality that tends to be less known because it's not acupuncture. It uses acupuncture needles, but it isn't acupuncture. It's a Western medical tradition. And it's in the pure scientific tradition of let's poke this and see what happens.
Yeah.
Like experiments with, okay, trigger points. We know if we press on them, it helps. What if we injected painkillers into that trigger point? Would that help? And finding that, yes, it does. What if we inject saline to make sure that we've got a balance? No, that works as well. What if we just stick the needle in? Yeah, that works. You know, where you can get really profound muscle relaxation, reduction in pain, like scientifically showing it, and studies have shown it's more effective than painkillers, like serious painkillers. But you don't have the risk of you know, any actual medication, which is wonderful. And so I kind of read about that, and then I was like, that's one of the few things that I've just read about and wanted to learn how to do rather than trying it myself.
Yeah.
Sounds really interesting.
I've had really profound results with that. Like when you work a muscle, so if I work it like deep tissue, I'll feel the difference in terms of how that muscle will have loosened off. I can put a needle in to the same spot, leave it 5 to 10 minutes, and to me that muscle feels like it's been worked on afterwards.
Wow.
I've had people who have been on serious painkillers for like a long period of time come in and have needling, and they haven't needed those painkillers afterwards.
That's incredible.
So I am like quite evangelical about that. A lot of people be like, oh, but needles.
Yeah.
You know,
that would be me.
which is fair enough. Oh, well, that's my husband as well. I was going to him, look, just lie down. You're not even going to see them. You won't know they're there.
Yeah. I did get acupuncture in my head though, when I was pregnant, because of the pains in my legs, I believe. I can't remember what I went in for, but I just remember saying, I'm going to put them there and we're going to go. And I was just like, okay, I can't back down from this now. But it was okay.
Yeah, it doesn't really hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was okay.
What I find really interesting though, dry needling is not an energetic treatment, or it's not supposed to be.
Yeah.
But I find when I've done it to people who are familiar with energy work, to other energy workers, people who are familiar with that movement, they'll feel things going on. Yeah. So it just leads me back to this idea that energy's the start of it. You know, there's an energy blockage somewhere, and then you get the physical results later.
Yeah.
So always coming back to, it's finding that initial cause.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So what do you find most fulfilling about the work that you do then with your clients?
It's seeing people get better.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And in a variety of different ways. It's seeing people leaving a treatment feeling so much better. But it's seeing them come back and looking different.
Yeah.
You know, I've done sort of energy healing work. And sometimes this can be very profound for people. So there was a lady who had like a big release in one session where she was kind of shaking, she was crying. You know, it was really intense, you know, as I'm taking these blocks out. And she needed about 6 weeks to just integrate that. She came back in and I was like, you look like a different person. You know, like she carried herself differently, and, you know, the expression and the energy, the feel of the energy off her. I was like, that's beautiful. I love that.
Wow.
And I love it when I see people getting better from manipulations. And they're coming back in, they're like, yeah, I'm sleeping through the night. Another lady who'd come in for lymphatic drainage massage, she'd been having like a lot of pain. You know, she was waking up several times in the night, her legs were so stiff and painful.
Oh.
And she got a course of 6. By the time she came into the 3rd one, she was like, I'm sleeping through the night. When I get up in the morning, I can walk without having to like warm up a bit first. And that's beautiful as well. And I do corporate massage, so like chair massage in offices. And I love that because I get people who come in, they don't really see what the value is going to be, but the company's paid for it. So they're coming along for the free, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And they kind of stump in, they're like, fine, yeah, I'm booked for that, And then they get up afterwards and they're like, oh, I feel so much better. That was amazing. I feel great. I'm like, yeah, I love that. I like the surprise, the surprise massage where they don't know they need it, but then,
Yeah. I love that.
So it is that feeling of, seeing people feel better.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Visible wellness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you could be remembered for one thing, what would that be?
Oh, that's such a difficult one. I was like puzzling over that beforehand. I think, it takes me back. I used to work as a breastfeeding counsellor. Mm-hmm. It's still something I'm really passionate about. But that aspect was, again, supporting mothers. Yeah. And I used to just go in and I'd help these mothers out, and they'd be so vulnerable at that stage, and there could be all kinds going on. And there was tears and, milk everywhere. Yeah. And I would kind of sort through and help them. And it's very much it's a peer support. Mm. So you go, I've been through this and I've been through where you are. Yeah. You're doing great, kind of, and helping them. And you would see a lot of people, and then I would head off, And I went and did this. And then I was out with my kids at the pictures one day, and this woman just came over and said, you won't remember me, but you came out when I was... my baby was a newborn, and you really helped me. And you helped me keep feeding. And I just wanted to say thank you. And I was a bit like, because someone comes up to in public. And then she rushed off, and I was like, because you never expect or need a thank you. But it was that feeling of like, she's going, you made a big difference in my life. And,
Yeah.
And I think that's what I'd like to be remembered is, just being there at the right moment to help someone.
Yeah.
And then just moving on, but knowing that I've touched that life and made a difference, I think.
Oh, I love that.
That's really gorgeous. Really gorgeous.
I love that. Well, if you could spill the tea with anyone, who would you choose and why?
That's another really difficult one because I have so many people on my fantasy dinner party list. I'd want to spend time with.
Go through the fantasy dinner party list.
But I'm going to pick, actually, Terry Pratchett, the author.
Oh, yeah. Okay. My stepdad loves him.
He's amazing.
Yeah,
he's so wise and funny, and such like an acute observer of humanity. Mm-hmm. My dad got me into his books. He used to work offshore, and they would periodically have like libraries. Mm-hmm. And there was obviously no real understanding of how libraries worked because all the rig workers would just steal the books and just go.
There was never a return.
No, I still have it, the one he brought home.
That fine's mounting up
with the stamp on the inside of the page of maritime library. And, he just brought that home. He was like, "You'll love this. Read this," and he was right. Oh. And I've since got my son into it as well. But when I've had like poor mental health and like depression and anxiety and that kind of stuff, which I've had, going through, and postnatally, of course, it was one of the things that really got me through, reading these books, and they're intelligent, and yet they're so easy to read. So kind of going through it and seeing these kind of really funny, but also kind of very generous observations of humanity and these stories, just really helped me in so many places, has informed so many different parts of my life. And I've been reading these books since I was about 14. So they've been with me, and I still will read them and love them. Yeah. And I just love to sort of sit down with them and say, you made a big difference for me. These things, you have such a beautiful view on the world, this kind of really clear seeing. That has really informed a lot of my life and really helped me through some tough times. Yeah. So I think that would be one thing I'd like to say. One of the things I regret is I always meant to write him a letter and say, like a fan letter, and just go, thank you for writing. And I never got round to it, and now he's passed on.
I bet you his family would like that letter though.
Maybe.
To know that he made a difference, because I think that's ultimately what all of us hope, isn't it? I think that question, if you could be remembered for one thing, we'll only have very, very few and very similar answers to, and it's that people would hope that they've made a difference to somebody, and that legacy of making a difference, it means so much to the people who are left behind. So I know that his family, even though I don't know him, the amazing Terry Pratchett at all, but all family would be grateful for that message, wouldn't they?
So true.
You know, that they've made a difference, that they've helped, that the words have supported, and that the
they
life's
still
work
continue to support.
the legacy goes on.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, your legacy won't go on with how you make a cup of tea, will it, Cal?
My legacy will be long-lived. my legacy is passed down generation to generation. But Lucy, we've been a bit scared to ask you this question because I feel like you're not of the Yorkshire tea or the PG Tips
Community.
brigade. Community. I feel like you're going to have a range of wide, wonderful and beautiful teas. So if you were to make the perfect cup of tea, what would that look like?
It has to be vanilla rooibos.
Vanilla rooibos.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like a caffeine-free version tea. It's red bush is how it translates. Yeah. I love it, and especially with the vanilla. You know, but you just make it with like milk. I actually like it with cream.
Oh wow, okay.
With milk?
Yeah.
That's strange for is it a herbal tea?
I mean, technically, but you know, tea is a herb, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
yeah. I know, we just think of it like, but it kind of, if you don't like tea, and I just was finding the tannins. Yeah. We're all laughing over there.
And I had like full moments.
Yeah.
I just actually feel like a box there. I feel like a real health guru.
Yeah.
Like I drink regular herbs.
Yeah. Regularly, so I struggle a bit with the tannins in tea. Like I don't respond very well to them. But nothing quite hits the spot.
No, it doesn't.
Like a proper cup of tea with a bit. Yeah.
So, you know, when you're saying about the milk bit, this is our like long-term battle, as you know. You know, with vanilla red bush, rooibos. With vanilla rooibos, is the tea bag in the cup with the milk, even on a vanilla rooibos?
I've got to be honest and take it even more out there. I actually like a teapot.
Oh yeah,
even just me, because one cup's not really enough.
No, it's never enough, is it?
No. So I really like.
I like a teapot as well, because that sort of only impacts my argument that the tea bag should never touch the milk, because with a teapot, the tea bag is so well contained that there's no way that that's coming into that cup with the milk.
I think I should just let you have this one.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of on your side with that.
Yeah,
except in the past, when I still used to drink black tea, because I liked it so weak. And I mean, my granddad had a phrase for my tea, which was maiden's dishwater.
Yeah.
That was how I liked my tea. So I used to put the milk in the cup, put the water in the cup.
Yeah.
Dip the tea bag in and then whip it out.
Yeah.
So that was like literally how I would make it. So is that even more? That's just even worse, isn't it?
I still love you, Lucy.
Yeah.
But now I am more of a teapot.
Yeah. I can tell that about you. You've progressed. The wisdom shines through.
The development, you know.
Yeah. And I think we all develop, don't we? So Claire has got hope in her development. She is a little younger than me, so maybe by the time she reaches my age, she'll be a full convert.
Maybe.
But Lucy, thank you so much. It's been incredible to have you, and you're just so calming. Your voice is so calming. I know it will have brought a lot of listeners a lot of peace during this podcast. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yay!